Welcome back. In this video, we're going over literally everything you need to know heading into Palantir's pivotal and much anticipated Q3 2025 earnings release, which is imminent at this point. The key question we're going to be answering in this video is what exactly is Palantir going to deliver? Revenue, on operating income, on growth year over year for the quarter, on deals above 5 million, above 10 million, on cash from operations, and potentially most importantly, in my opinion, guidance. Are they going to raise, keep in line? Are they going to raise the yearly guidance, keep the existing guidance, or cut? I think we can throw that out the window, but guidance is always super important. So the bottom line up front, my opinion is Q3 is a durability test. Can AIP pilots scale deployments while DoD ramps new procurement? Can Palantir continue to fire on all cylinders commercially and governmentally? So they guided strong in Q3. There's no doubt about that. And that's what's led the stock to all-time highs. Q3 revenue guidance issued on the Q2 call is about 1.09 billion, adjusted operating income of around 495 million, and they raised a fiscal 2025 guidance for revenue, adjusted operating income, and free cash flow, which I believe they also did the quarter prior as well. So the expectations baked in are the street sitting at that guidance of 1.09 billion and a range on EPS. The market wants a beat and a raise with visible conversion. So we're going to be talking about how likely that is. Is the stock going to 200 or going to retrace actually back to where it was previously in the year? Logistics first, however. The print, when is it? How to listen? Well, it's coming on Monday, November 3rd after the market. The webcast, as usual, is at 5 p.m. Eastern, and you can watch the live replay at investors.palantir.com. And what's going to move after hours is the top line beat or miss, and the margins as well has always been super important, especially as Palantir scales, and the Q4 color, which coincides with the full fiscal year guidance. Let's get into that right now. So the Q2 baseline and how we compare against Q3, which is upcoming, we had 1 billion in revenue, which was up 48% year over year, 14% quarter over quarter. The blowout rule of 40 that you've been hearing so much about, that was last quarter. Incredible margins, strength in U.S. commercial, and just U.S. revenue in general. Deals closed were up huge, and balance sheet reaching $6 billion in cash and treasuries. This video is sponsored by MGX, link in the description. You're about to watch me build a PLTR Q3 2025 scenario calculator in under a minute. In MGX, I paced a short prompt, one file, mobile-friendly app with revenue and margin sliders compared to guidance, and tag, bear, bull, and base. And I hit build, as you already saw, and MGX is about to return a single index HTML, and I'll open it. So we have two controls here, revenue and adjusted operating margin. We can slide revenue up or down, and you instantly see the delta versus the guidance, and the app computes adjusted operating income against the range. And as I move the sliders, the scenario badge flips bear, bull, base, and I can flip on team mode and invite David, the AI team's data analyst, at any time as a real-time co-analyst. There's also deep research mode, where I can ask for market analysis on Q4 drivers, comps, and conversion risks. And at any time, I can generate a dashboard, and MGX will build it dynamically. And if you need to build tools like this fast and collaborate live, check out MGX, link in the description. Now back to the video. So the guidance and what the street's expecting to sort of anchor your mental model is, again, we went over the guide, but What I want to focus on now is talking about the full year. The fiscal 2025 guide is right now sitting at 4.15 billion in revenue and 1.92 billion in adjusted operating income, and of that 1.3 billion is US commercial revenue, which is up over 85, I almost said it wrong, 85% year over year. Just massive. So the question is, actually it's less than that, right? Because Palantir reports a bit late. They get good visibility into the fourth quarter. We're already into the fourth quarter. So by the time they report this, it will be, 1 month into the fourth quarter with less than 2 months left. They're going to have a very good understanding of what that Q4 print and full year 2025 print is going to be. So all of that being said, I do expect them to update guidance. Although you can say devil's advocate here would be they're just going to leave it. They're going to leave it put they raised the guide last quarter. They're going to leave it this time around so that they can deliver a massive beat when they do report this in early 2026. So either way, I think it's a positive, but if they do come out and raise guidance again, I think that's going to send the stock past $200, but that's not for certain, right? We don't know if that's going to be the case. I think that's a positive way of looking at it. So the consensus is sort of around where the guidance is, which tends to always be the case, and then Palantir usually comes in a bit above that, and the stock can do whatever depending on where it is heading into the release, right? We've seen massive drops, we've seen massive spikes. So before we talk about some scenarios, I want to talk about the conversion engine here. We've been watching this for so long. The KPIs here are the U.S. commercial customers. Trailing 12 months, we've had 485, and commercial customers globally, 692. We want to see what's going on with growth. U.S. commercial up 93% year over year. Conversion from AIP boot camps to rollouts remains what the story is. And the exciting part about that is Palantir's very early on in monetizing that actual work that they've done over the last couple years. We want to see this sales cycle continue to shorten, and these new partnerships they've been doing should give evidence of faster and more multi-workload expansions. There's also a lot of work happening on the government side as well. We have this 10-year Army enterprise agreement with a ceiling up to $10 billion, consolidating many contracts, and we should expect some commentary there. There's also the Maven work. There's just a lot going on in general. As I mentioned, some partnerships, Snowflake and Palantir integrating AI Data Cloud. And we also have Databricks and Palantir. That was a bit earlier in the year. I just want to flag both of these. Marrying AIP with the data intelligence platform. So just a lot of momentum and getting new interest and really expanding, I would say horizontally here to other integrations. So let's dive into the scenarios now. I think a bear case, you could say like 30% probability would be they come in sort of a little bit below what they said. Maybe they raised it a little too much. I think this is, 30% is probably too high, honestly, but you got to consider everything, right? So it's basically like a little under what they said they were going to do, which has happened before, but very rarely. And the base case would be most likely here is they come in right around where they said, maybe a little higher for guidance, which is sort of what analysts are expecting. And then it would come down to what they expect for Q4 and 2025, full year 2025, in terms of what the stock would do there, in terms of new information, if the numbers come in as expected. But for the bull case, which I think you weigh the probability, I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but they do deliver a top line beat for revenue. They come in over 1.1 billion and margins look great and EPS smashes expectations. And they deliver and raise guidance for Q4, meaning 2025. And I think then you've got a real chance at setting significant new all-time highs. But again, it's not the most likely scenario, but it is certainly one that is possible. So I want to hear your thoughts on what you expect. The bottom line from me is Q3 is about proof that AIP commercialization and the work with government are compounding into 2026, not just spiking on a one-time, year in 2025. And so the bar is high, but I am very excited to see the results from Palantir, and I'd love to hear your predictions in the comments. Until next time.